What's up, everybody? Welcome back to a brand spanking new episode of Hoops All In. If you guys are new, make sure you follow us on social media at Hoops All In on Instagram, TikTok, and X. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel at Hoops All In. Like, comment, share videos to your friends, family, loved ones, or significant other. We would appreciate it. Don't forget to check out Keith's personal YouTube channel at Keith HAI. He does some good work over there. Also, don't forget to subscribe and listen to the audio version of the podcast on Apple a podcast, Spotify, Podbeam, or wherever you stream your weekly or daily podcast. We are on there. So yeah, Keith, man, you got a, segment that you wanted us to do when in regards to Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah, there's been a lot of reports about a lot of different teams about where is Giannis gonna go? What would the Bucks get back in a potential trade for their best franchise player? All the sorts. It has come to a little bit of a stalling point. We've seen. I personally do not believe Giannis will get dealt. I don't know how you feel on this matter, but I've got six teams here that either have been in multiple reports for Giannis potentially, or I think just have the assets to trade for them. And the first team we're going to talk about, um, which again, I don't think any of these will happen. I think Giannis will be a Milwaukee Buck next season, but again, these are the destinations I picked, and the first one we'll start with is the Dallas Mavericks. Um, so just to spitball kind of what that trade would look like would be obviously Giannis going to Dallas for the first overall pick. Um Salary, which would be like PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, maybe Clay, although you would probably want to keep Clay, but like PJ and Gafford for sure. Um and I don't know how much. I don't believe the Mavericks are a second apron, first apron type of team after trading Luca. So I don't think. I think they can be kind of flexible with money that they like. I think they can take back more money than a team like the Bucks would be able to. But do we like that? Giving and obviously more picks. I'm not gonna really include picks unless it is the first, second, a pick in this draft. But um would you feel comfortable in giving up your franchise player for, the draft rights to who will be Cooper Flag and then basically salary fillers where honestly those salary fillers and PJ and Daniel Gafford will be some of your best players on the roster, but do you go towards that route, which would pretty much be a hard reset and you would eventually have to trade Dame?
I would go towards that route as long as also you get Derek Lively. I think Derek Lively is younger. Obviously, he is younger. He has more of an upside than Daniel Gafford. That pick and roll, you could throw some loss to him. He's athletic. He's young. He's still raw, but he's like 21, 22 years old. So much potential right there. So if you get obviously the number one overall pick, which is going to be Cooper Flag, Daniel Gafford, PJ, Derek Lively, and 3 to 4, I would say four, at minimum four first
Oh,
round
yeah.
draft picks, then yeah, I think you make that deal. The Bucks have a young player that they could rebuild for the future, along with some young talent in Derek Lively and some draft assets. And then the Dallas Mavericks, who are in a win now position, have a new massive big three with Kyrie, AD, and Giannis. And I think even Giannis, who's the younger out of the three, extends their window a little bit because he's
Yeah.
30. He's not going to be 31, I believe, until like later this year, next year. So that you got a good 5 years to win with him being arguably the best player on that team. And then obviously once Kyrie comes back from his torn ACL, which is supposed to be sometime in January, if not February, now
Mhm.
you're real players. So yeah, I definitely do that deal if Lively is included in that trade package.
You do that for the Buck side you're talking
For the
about?
Buck side, yes.
And
If you
do
get
you would you
Lively,
feel comfortable in giving that up?
yes,
Giving all
yes.
that up for a guy of Giannis?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah.
think you do now that Luka is not here. I think if you kept Luka, you maybe hesitate, but obviously since Luka's not on the
Yeah.
Mavericks, then I think they would still think about it, but, yeah.
But if you're the Mavs, you're gonna be like, okay, so we would pretty much would have traded because they pretty much traded Luca for AD and um Cooper Flag. But then if you're the man, okay, we traded Luca, we and PJ Washington and Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford and 3 to 4 first round draft picks for Giannis and AD. I think the first again, I think the first package is a little bit more appealing because they were to keep some more of their assets. But Giannis, you do whatever you can. You offer a couple of janitors for crying out loud, along with the towel boy to get Giannis onto the Kumpo.
Yeah, yeah. All right. The next team, which I think would be able to give the best package, another Texas team, San Antonio Spurs. This would look like Stephon Castle, pick number 2, which would eventually be Dylan Harper. You would have to give up Devin Vassell and probably Harrison Barnes or Keldon Johnson. Um, in exchange, pretty much just for Giannis. You would probably also get. You would either get probably the Hawks first round picks that San Antonio has, the rights to, or you would just get a couple of San Antonio's like 2030, 2031, whatever they have down the line. Um, Before I let you say what you're gonna do, I would do this if I was the Bucks, but if I was the Spurs, and I did a whole rebuild on my channel with doing this exact trade. I do not want to. I don't think I want to give up Castle, and I don't want people to confuse me saying I don't want to give up Castle for Giannis because I think Castle will be as good of a player as Giannis. But when you look at Giannis is like 55 million a year. I think he's under contract for another 2 or 3 seasons after this, but he's going to demand even more money when he gets to that point. And it's just kind of also you look at fit, and obviously Giannis would fit with Wemby, but it's just like, do you want to give up the second pick and the reigning rookie of the year for a guy like Giannis? Obviously, within first like thoughts, it's like, yeah, it's Giannis. It's one of the best power forwards of all time, but I think it's harder to give it up. And maybe I'm the homer, maybe it's just because Castle's one of my guys that I feel this way. But yeah, I mean, if Harper pretty much, which will be the second pick, Castle, Vassell, and Harrison Barnes, and then say 3 other first round picks.
Uh Obviously again the Bucks, they got a lot of talent and draft picks. That's exactly what you want when you're trading a guy like Giannis.
Mm-hmm.
I know when you mentioned Stephon Castle, you begrudgingly said his name. So I was like, because you're really, UConn guy, you're a homer. If I'm the Spurs, I do not know why they're, especially again, NBA media is pushing this narrative that, oh, well, they have to win now because,
Yeah, I
Victor
know.
Wemby just turned
Right.
20 fucking years old.
Yeah.
He's not 26. He's not 27. He's not 29. He's not in the middle of his prime. This man hasn't even reached his prime and will not reach his prime for the next 5 years. He's 20 years old.
Yeah.
Have him build with the players that you drafted him. There is no rush for the Spurs to try to win right now. Okay, let's see what this team is capable of. Let them make the playoffs first and see, okay, how can they hang with other experienced teams?
Mhm.
Then you start to make these assets. But I'm just so annoyed by these guys. Oh, well, if Kendrick Perkins and Stephen, if I'm the Spurs, they need to trade and get help for Victor Wembanyama. Right? Bro,
Yeah.
he just finished his second year in the league. Can we calm down and go smoke something real quick before we start saying these outlandish statements? If I'm the Spurs, I don't do that. I don't do that deal.
Mhm.
No, I agree with you now because I don't. You don't want to mess up the chemistry. It is very, very, especially with the new CBA. It
Mhm.
is hard as hell to build a team from scratch from the
Right.
draft and then to keep that team together and have them build. Sam Presti came from the San Antonio Spurs tree, and they have that system in place. Like, no, they like to build from within. Tim Duncan
Mhm.
build from within. He was homegrown.
Yeah.
Kawhi Leonard homegrown. Manu Ginobili homegrown. So I think that they can still have that DNA, that blueprint in them, and I don't think there's no rush for them to try to get a mega superstar because you already have one. You already have a guy. You just have to continue to have him build, have him continue to develop and add to his game. But you guys aren't going anywhere. And then you will, well, what about Darren Fox? He's like 26, 27. he's still probably just about to enter his prime right now. He's still 26, 27. He's not 37. Okay, maybe you want to try to do it for Chris Paul, but Chris Paul probably knows he's not going to win a championship. He's
Yeah,
almost 40. His role right now is just to be a mentor to young, great developing players, especially point guards in this league. He knows with that. He's happy with that. He's made his money. So, no, I do not risk it just to get a guy like Giannis. Not saying Giannis is not worth it because it's
right,
Giannis Antetokounmpo, but for their situation, they are primed for the next 5 to 10, if not 15 years, keeping a young core like that together. Now, especially, once these guys are going to start getting paid, CBA restrictions come into play, but you're going to eat a lot of salary cap when you get a guy like Giannis because I think he's going to obviously, you're going to have to want to extend him because I think he has like 2 years left in his deal. You're
hmm
going to have to sign Wemby to a crazy max
right,
extension. So you already have two guys making well over $400 million for the next 3 4 years. You're not gonna have a bench. So I wouldn't do that. No, for the Spurs side, no.
would you do it for the Bucks?
For the Bucks, hell yeah, yeah, because you get a lot in return. Yeah, of course. The
I
Bucks,
think that's another trade where you do that. You got to flip Dame as well
yeah, exactly.
because you're getting Harper and Castle, who would probably start.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the issue with like why people are trying to rush the Spurs into moving this, going for all in, is because of the overlap, right? Dylan Harper is no like all but guaranteed to be the second overall pick. Some people are like, oh, what about Ace Bailey at number two? What about VJ Edgecombe? Dylan Harper is it goes Cooper Flag, Dylan Harper, and then excuse me, Ace Bailey probably at three is the overlap, right? You got De'Aaron, you got Castle. I would assume they bring back Chris Paul, and then you have Dylan Harper as well. You've got all these young guards, other than Chris Paul, obviously, off the bench, who all play not, I wouldn't say similar, but De'Aaron, Castle, and Harper aren't really these. They're not necessarily proven a lot from 3-point range. Obviously, Harper's not even an NBA player yet, so obviously he gets a pass. Castle is obviously a second year player going into, and Fox, I mean, it's not his fault. That's how he plays. He's one of the fastest guards in the league, but I think it's the overlap that some people just don't want Dylan Harper to come off the bench in his rookie year or for how it probably multiple years if you're keeping all those guys around. Um, do you like, before we move on, do you like them getting rid of it for Kevin Durant instead, the Spurs?
No, because KD's older. He's like what 7, 6, 7 years older.
Yeah.
And I don't want to, play this narrative with KD, but we have to be real. Everywhere he goes, where he tries to form a super team, it doesn't work out with this guy. It didn't work with the Nets. It didn't work with the Suns. So now you're gonna try to trade Kevin Durant and possibly ruin another situation.
Yeah.
No, like no, the only place that worked was OKC when it went to the finals, and obviously with the Golden State Warriors when they won to 3 straight NBA finals and won 2 out of 3. Had he
Yeah.
not got hurt, they would have won 3 in a row. So no, I do not risk it to get a guy who's probably going to give you 3 years, maybe 2, 3 years left max in this league at his advanced age. No, no, just stay the course. Because again, these teams they ain't gonna be around forever. You guys have youth on your side now. Just get the experience and you guys will be a team to reckon with for years to come. So no, I don't try to rush the process. For what?
Yeah. Um, and we have the last Texas team in here as well, Houston Rockets. Obviously, the Rockets. It's been right, like they need a definitive one option. They kind of do this thing by committee, by team. They don't really have that 1A that is there that they can go to down the stretch, that they can do whatever. I would assume that this would include trading Jabari Smith. You would pick up the team option on Fred VanVleet, who would pretty much almost make the money match by himself. You would probably have to give up Cam Whitmore, and I don't. Houston has somebody's picks that are super valuable. It's Phoenix's picks. Houston has Phoenix Suns picks, who
Mhm.
those picks are going to be super valuable, and I think that's why. Going back to Kevin Durant, the Suns are trying to make a trade with the Rockets so they can get their own picks back, have some say over what their future looks like. But I would assume, like I said, Jabari, Whitmore, Fred VanVleet, and probably maybe a Reed Shepard. I don't know though. and then like two of those Suns picks.
For the Suns, if you do that deal, you're either gonna have to also move Devin Booker because I don't know Devin Booker's mind. I don't know what he's thinking, but he's like 28, I believe. He's about to be in his prime. Now he's in his prime right now.
I think
I don't think he wants to be a part of another rebuild. Now there was rumors that the Suns are gonna offer him a crazy, massive contract extension of like 2 years, a
mhm,
hundred plus $1 million. But why would you want to stay a part of another rebuild when they're gonna be wasting an extra 2, 3 years of your prime? So
yeah,
if they do that trade, getting rid of Kevin Durant, you're gonna have to trade Devin Booker as well, in my opinion, because they also want to get rid of Bradley Beal. They don't want him back on his team next year. So if
yeah,
I'm the Suns, you only do that deal unless if you are able to trade Devin Booker and get back valuable assets for him as well to go into to a complete rebuild. Now, if I'm the Houston Rockets, Jabari Smith, he's been up and down.
hmm
Obviously, because Şengün's pretty much taken over his spot at the forward position. You said Jalen Smith was part of that trade as well, too, was part of that deal.
Jalen
Jalen
Green.
Smith, oh Jalen Green, excuse me, Jalen Green, yeah.
Um, if he, I, it's hard to say for the Suns' part, just because then you would have Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, and Jalen Green. That's a lot of overlapping.
Mm-hmm.
So I would probably say no, but that trade package uh could is the same package they would probably give up for Giannis as well. So when you get done with your Kevin Durant stuff, go into the what you think for Giannis as well. But I don't know. It's hard just because again, KD is old,
Yeah.
so it's hard. Like obviously, he's still a top 15-ish player. Still, he's the greatest scorer of all time. He's old though. It's just it's hard, I think, to just gauge for Kevin Durant. But go ahead, continue.
Yeah, I was gonna say I saw Jalen Green, and then so Jalen Green would be part of that trade, right?
Sure.
Okay, so Jalen Green, and jury still out on Jalen Green because of how inconsistent he was in the postseason. Maybe he can work on that in all season because I think he just completed his third or fourth year in the league, so he's still young, very
hmm
young, raw tap talent, not even in his prime yet.
Yeah.
For Kevin Durant, no, because again, of his age, old. They need a number one option, but why not make Şengün that? Şengün has shown he's capable of being the number one guy, and again, he's also young as hell too. I don't understand what these teams trying to rush the process for Giannis. Oh hell yeah, I'd rather
Yeah.
take a guy who's 6, 7 years younger, who was in third MVP, third or second MVP, third MVP this past year, two-time MVP, multiple time defensive player of the year. Yeah, for Giannis, yes, I would do that trade package. But I don't know if that's gonna entice the Bucks. They're probably gonna be like, hey, we gonna give you Giannis. We want Şengün, but then that defeats the purpose of trading for Giannis because you want to play with Şengün. And also too, for Giannis and Şengün, how's that pairing gonna work? Is the spacing gonna be off because Şengün is a post player, he's a back to the basket guy. You're not gonna have any room for them to get in their spots. So on paper, it seems nice because of the Giannis Antetokounmpo and his star power and the name that he brings. But I think the fit, I'm gonna have to say no. I say no for both of those guys. No, no. For
Okay.
the Houston Rockets because the fit for with Giannis, and again, you don't want an aging superstar when
hmm
you guys are still relatively young. Now for the Bucks, they would do that deal, I think, if they either included Şengün over Jabari Smith because Şengün is way more valuable.
I don't.
But I don't think
I
they're
think
gonna
the
do
only
that.
people that are untouched. I think the people that are untouchable in either of those trades are Sengun and Ahmed.
Yeah, so then I don't think the Bucks would probably be interested in doing that. Maybe so. I say no for both. And same thing with KD. If I'm the Rockets, I wouldn't touch Kevin Durant with a 10-foot pole. And again, not shitting on Kevin Durant, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, old. You have like a now like kind of a stigma with you. It's like now he's gonna be on his third team in the last 2 years or third team in the last 3 years. A great historical player like that, bouncing teams, who's been swept in the first round
Yeah.
past 2 years, 2, 3 years. That's not
hmm
a good look on his resume for a historical all-time great player. So no, no, I stay away from KD.
Okay. And then some of the last three are kind of more. I would say more. All of these I think aren't the most realistic, but these are the three more unrealistic ones. We can kind of fly through these. OKC. I mean, OKC could trade for anybody they want, probably.
Oh yeah.
But honestly, if I'm sending him to OKC, I want Cheddar J-Dub.
Hmm.
And I don't think that, I mean, with the way that I was just talking about in our finals preview or finals, recap of game 1 and 2, maybe OKC feels fine with giving up Chet if Chet doesn't really step up his scoring and stuff. But honestly, I don't think that's something that OKC does, and they don't need to. They're 3 games away from winning or losing the finals.
Yeah, literally. And plus, the Thunder, they're in a position where they don't even have to give up a single player to get a superstar.
Right.
They have a bazillion draft picks. I've
Mhm.
never seen a team that's a championship winning team that's oh so young that has a reigning league MVP on their roster and has legit 1,000 draft picks in the next 4 or 5 drafts.
Right.
I don't know how in the hell Sam Presti was able to maneuver that. I don't know what type of 2K sliders he had and the trade settings to be able to just fleece teams out of draft picks after draft picks, but it's
Mhm.
just arguably ridiculous. They look legit. I was like, how many draft picks you want? You want 6, 7, 8
Right.
first
They
rounders? Here you
like,
go.
yeah.
Imagine Shea and Giannis together on the court. Imagine Shea and KD on the court on the same team together. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Another team, your New York Knicks, it's come out. I'm pretty sure that they said they would not do a cat, like the Bucks don't want cat for Giannis.
Yeah.
And I really don't think that you have anything else that the Bucks would want. Like, you could also make the money pretty much match with OG, I think, too. But the Knicks pretty much just got eliminated for not having anything valuable off their bench. They're
Yeah.
not trading Jalen Brunson, and if they're not taking, and if the Bucks aren't taking Cat, those other 3 guys, Hart, OG, and McHale, aren't doing the deal for
Nah.
me.
Nah. That's a waste.
Um, and then the Celtics, I Jalen Brown. Do you even do it if they offer Jalen Brown? Right. And I don't know. I
No.
don't think we have many picks either.
No.
I
Yeah.
think we got a couple in Porzingis, but I just saw a thing that said that the Celtics might need to pair Porzingis with a pick or two to get rid of him.
Sheesh. Yeah,
So
because he I don't know what kind of illness he had in the playoffs. He
yeah,
wasn't playing.
I don't know.
I saw some people. I'm not trying to divert the conversation. I saw some people say that he might have like HIV or AIDS, which is I don't
I
know how true
don't know.
that is, and that's like
He
that's
just had
kind
some
of crazy
hard,
to
like
say.
hard of breathing. He said he
Yeah,
was he like he played like 5 minutes and then
he
would
couldn't
be huffing
breathe.
and puffing. And obviously Porzingis has been a all-star before. Like he's very capable of playing 30 plus minutes. But yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know. Weird end of the season for him. But yeah, I
yeah.
mean, honestly, okay, say they'll give you Jalen and Porzingis. Do you still do that knowing Dame is gonna be gone for at least all-star break until all-star break?
But then I'll have to reroute Porzingis, so that's another work for the Bucks front office, John Horst to do. So I say nah,
Yeah.
nah.
But yeah,
I'm not interested.
I don't think that Giannis is going anywhere. I thought this well before the all these stalling talks and all these rumors, whatever, have come out. But I just think that Giannis, it's hard to see Giannis being moved because one, he's the greatest player for the Milwaukee Bucks franchise, and he's already won the ring. Like, if he hadn't won a ring, I think he would be a little bit more eager himself to get out the door. And obviously, like, the Bucks, they want to, if they are going to trade him, they want to win the trade. They want to do right by Giannis. They want to send him somewhere that he would prefer. But they're a team, they want to win the team. They want to win the trade and do right by Giannis. It's not like they're sending Giannis to Washington
Yeah,
or some
or Utah.
right or something like that. Like,
Yeah,
they would do right by him while making sure they get back something that they can be like, okay, we traded our greatest player who's been all NBA first team 8 years, 7 years in a row.
yeah.
You got to get back something that you can be proud of, that you're getting back for when you're trading a guy like that. And I just don't know the things we went over. I honestly, I don't know. I mean, it depends on how Cooper Flag and how, but like, I don't know if they're proud of if they get Cooper Flag back. Like, obviously, it would be one of the best things they could get, but do we think Cooper Flag is, it just, there's just so many conversations to it. I said in my video, the Milwaukee Bucks front office, that is Number one job, if I was a front office personnel, I would not want that. Out of all 30 teams, Milwaukee is the one team I don't want.
Yeah, because they're stuck between a rock and a hard place. Knowing next year is like, okay, next year we're not going to be as competitive.
Right.
And then Giannis, a year of his prime wasted. Does he maybe request a trade in the 2026, 2027 year?
Or does he leave in free agency in a few years for nothing?
Yeah.
But
So,
yeah,
yeah. John Horst got a lot of shit on his plate.
yeah, he does.
Uh, Yep. All right. Yeah. So that's it for today's episode of Hoops All In. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to follow us on our social media at Hoops All In on Instagram, TikTok, and X. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us. Share the video out to your friends, family, loved ones, significant other. We'd pretty appreciate it. Don't forget to listen to the audio version of the podcast at Apple Podcast, Spotify, Podbean, iHeartRadio, or wherever you stream your daily or weekly podcast. We are on there. Don't forget to subscribe to Keith's personal Hoops All In channel at Keith HAI. For World's Francois, Keith Bazin signing off. We'll be back next time for another episode of Hoops All In. All right.